Welcome back. Well, yesterday, the House of Representatives didn't get the two-thirds vote required to outlaw gender-based abortions, terminating pregnancies based on the sex of the baby. The overwhelming opposition came from Democrats and even some quote-unquote feminists. Congressman Sheila Jackson Lee played the fear card.
I think the next act will be dragging women out of patient rooms into the streets and screaming over their bodies as they are dragged out of getting access to women's health care. That's what I feel like is occurring today with the legislation that is on the floor.
Not quite, Congresswoman. Well, here's how the White House then went on to frame the issue.
The administration opposes gender discrimination in all forms, but the end result of this legislation would be to subject doctors to criminal prosecution if they fail to determine the motivations behind a very personal and private decision. I think we, again, oppose gender discrimination in all cases. I think our record on that is very clear. The President's record on that is very clear.
Mm-hmm. But he went on, Kimberly, to call this a personal decision, gender selection. Now, for a White House that is making a war on women, the hallmark of its campaign against Mitt Romney, terminating a pregnancy based on the sex of a baby, meaning it's a girl, so you're going to get rid of it, seems pretty disgusting and the worst form of discrimination against females.
Yeah, and we talk about China. I mean, my God, what's going on over here? That's the problem. And when you have Sheila, I mean, that one, what a mess. The last thing you want is her being somebody to speak on your side as a surrogate or as a supporter, because she's a total bomb thrower and nobody likes her attitude. I'm sorry. I mean, she's very polarizing, and this issue is very important. And his war on women is not working. Look at the polling numbers.
Look at the polling numbers. The polling numbers are pretty interesting.
Bob, the reason that I'm guessing they brought it up under suspension, which is the two-thirds vote, and it failed, is because they didn't want Democrats to offer amendments to
the
this
reason
bill
they
and
brought
some
it up
crazy
was
stuff.
for pure and simple politics, because this live action, which is a right-wing thing funded by the Koch brothers or Koch brothers.
Speaking of, can we play the video? Let's play the tape. There's actually, we covered the first, Bob, before we talk about it, let's show the viewers what we're talking about.
It's a bull thing.
Okay, we showed you the Planned Parenthood video, the first one down in Texas. Now there's a second one where Planned Parenthood is counseling a woman on an abortion to terminate the pregnancy of a female. Listen to this.
If there is somebody that you guys would recommend that I could go to just to get the test so that we know, because then if we find out that it is a girl, then we could terminate earlier rather than having to wait.
Yeah, and so if you, decide that even if you find out that it's a girl and you decide that what you would prefer is to terminate the pregnancy, then that's just your decision. I can tell you that, here at Planned Parenthood, we believe that it's not up to us to decide what is a good or bad reason for somebody to decide to terminate a pregnancy.
So not an isolated incident, Dana?
Well, even if that was highly edited, what did they edit? I mean, that one was pretty long, but it's amazing that we even have to have a conversation and have a bill in this country about sex selection, but apparently we do.
I'll just throw the numbers out there, Bob.
We do because of Republican politics. And, when you get somebody who represents the Republican Party like Live Action, that thing was 85% of it was not in that tape. It's not true. They offered, wait a second. It's not true,
They fired
Bob.
someone
fine.
on the first
Go
video.
ahead.
That admits wrongdoing,
Bob,
Eric.
It's not true, Bob. Go.
Bob, it's the third time you've weighed in on this. I'm just going to throw the numbers at you. You remember when you said yesterday 3% of what Planned Parenthood does?
Yes.
Well, it turns out it's 51% of all their surgical procedures. 51%.
3%
by the way,
of what they spend.
51% of all surgical procedures. By the way, Planned Parenthood gets $487 million, got $487 million in 2010, 46% of their total budget. So any way you slice it, your tax dollars are going towards them being able to do abortion.
Flat out lie.
And they just endorsed President Obama. Looks like the Democrats have some problems on their hand. All right, coming up, is the EPA trying to hurt American farmers by spying on them? Well, the short answer is yes, and we'll tell you how, and we'll tell you why when we come back.
Rather have my fiddle and my farm and tools. Thank God.